Chapter 2 Biological Classification. In Linnaeus' time, a two-kingdom system of classification with Plantae and Animalia kingdoms was given. Aristotle was the earliest to attempt a more scientific basis for classification. Now, characteristics of the five kingdoms: Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, Animalia. Cell type: only Monera is a prokaryotic, rest all are eukaryotic. Cell wall: in Monera it is non-cellulosic, polysaccharide and amino acids. Protista present in some, and then in fungi, uh, in fungi, uh, in fungi present with chitin, and in Plantae it is cellulose, and then in Animalia it is absent. So nuclear membrane is absent in Monera. In rest all there it is present. They have well nuclear bound organelle. Okay. Then body organization, it is cellular in Monera. In Protista it is cellular, but fungi multicellular loose tissue. Then Plantae no organ system, and in Animalia it is organ system. Now mode of nutrition: Monera show all type of diverse metabolic nutritional. So autotrophic, chemosynthetic, phototropic, and heterotropic, saprophytic, parasitic. Now Protista autotrophic and heterotropic. In autotrophic it is photosynthetic, not chemosynthetic. They are the only bacteria that they show. Now fungi heterotrophic, so saprophytic depend on dead organic matter, and parasitic depend on living plant and animal. Plantae it is autotrophic, only photosynthetic, and Animalia heterotrophic, holozoic, direct ingestion, and saprophytic, absorption from the soil, like the primitive, like sponges or something like that, protozoans. Now R.H. Whitaker in 1969 proposed a five kingdom classification, and Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. The main criteria for classification used by R.H. Whitaker was include cell structure, then body organization, then mode of nutrition, and then reproduction, and then phylogenetic relationships, right? Okay, so the kingdom Protista has brought together Chlamydomonas and Chlorella, earlier placed in algae within plants, and both having cell walls. Now Paramecium and Amoeba, which were earlier placed in animal kingdom, which lack cell wall. So over time an attempt has been made to evolve a classification system which reflects not only the morphological, physiological, reproductive similarities, but is also phylogenetic, that is based on evolutionary relationships, right? Now kingdom Monera. Bacteria are the sole members of the kingdom Monera. Okay, bacteria are grouped under four categories based on their shape: the spherical, that is coccus; the rod shaped bacillus, that is bacilli; and the comma shaped vibrium, that is vibrio; and the spiral spirillum. See in the diagram, bacillus has the spore, spirilla has the flagella, vibrio comma shaped, and coccus, that is spherical. Though the bacterial structure is very simple, they show complex behavior. Compared to many other organisms, bacteria as a group show the most extensive metabolic diversity, that is nutritional diversity. Vast majority of bacteria are heterotrophs. Now archaebacteria. These bacteria are special since they live in some of the most harsh habitats, such as extreme salty areas, that is halopiles, hot spring thermoacidophils, and marshy areas, that is methanogens. Archaebacteria differ from other bacteria in having a different cell wall structure, and this feature is responsible for their survival in extreme conditions. Now methanogens are present in the gut of several ruminant animals such as cows, buffaloes, and they are responsible for production of methane, that is biogas, from the dung of these animals. So they have the different cell wall structure. Now eubacteria. These are true bacteria. Now they are characterized by a presence of a rigid cell wall, and if motile of flagellum. The cyanobacteria, also referred to as blue-green algae, have chlorophyll A similar to green plants and are photosynthetic autotrophs. Now the cyanobacteria are unicellular, colonial or filamentous freshwater, marine or terrestrial algae. They have gelatinous sheath. Now they often form blooms in polluted water bodies, cyanobacteria. Some of these organisms can fix atmospheric nitrogen in specialized cells called heterocysts, that is nostoc and anabina. And chemosynthetic autotrophs bacteria oxidize various inorganic substances such as nitrates, nitrites, ammonia, and use the release energy for their ATP production. So they play a great role in recycling nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, iron, and sulfur. The heterotrophic bacteria are most abundant in nature. Majority are decomposers. Now these bacteria are helpful in making curd from milk, production of antibiotics, and fixing nitrogen in legume roots. Bacteria causes cholera, chlorella, typhoid, tetanus, and citrus canker. Cholera, typhoid, tetanus, tetanus, and citrus canker. Bacteria reproduce mainly by fission. The mycoplasma are organisms that completely lack a cell wall. They are the smallest living cells known and can survive without oxygen. Many mycoplasma are pathogenic in animals and plants. Now kingdom Protista. So all single cell eukaryotes are placed under Protista. So Protista, chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds, and protozoans under Protista. Okay. Being eukaryotes, the protistian cell body contains a well-defined nucleus and other membrane-bound organelles. So chrysophytes, this group includes diatoms and golden algae, that is desmids. And in diatoms, the cell walls form two thin overlapping shells which fit together as in a soap box. The cell walls form two thin overlapping shells which fit together as in a soap box. The walls are embedded with silica and thus the walls are indestructible. So they also refer to as diatomaceous earth. Now they use, being gritty, this soil is used in polishing, filtration of oils and syrups. Now diatoms are the chief producers in the oceans. Now dinoflagellates. The red tide, that is red dinoflagellus gonvilex, show much rapid multiplication, and they appear red, that is red tides. These are the dinoflagellates. Euglenoids, their pigments identical to the higher plants. Example, euglena, slime molds. So slime molds are saprophytic protist. Now under suitable condition they form an aggregation called plasmodium which may grow and spread over several feet. Favorable condition they form plasmodium. Now during unfavorable condition the plasmodium differentiates and form fruiting bodies bearing spores at their tips, and these spores dispersed by air currents. Now the spore possess two walls. But in normal case they I think do not have any kind of walls except the plasma membrane. Now protozoans, they are primitive relatives of animals. Now amoeboid protozoans, these organisms live in fresh water, sea water or moist soil. They move and capture their prey by putting out pseudopodia false feet as in amoeba. Now marine form is entamoeba, which is parasite. Now flagellated protozoans, example is trypanosoma. Ciliated protozoans, example is paramecium. And sporozoans. Now the most notorious is plasmodium, that is malarial parasite which causes malaria, a disease which has staggering effect on human population. Now kingdom fungi. The fungi constitute a unique kingdom of heterotrophic organisms. They show great diversity, morphology and habitat. Okay. White spots seen on mustard leaves are due to a parasitic fungus. Some unicellular fungi, example yeast, are used to make bread and beer. Okay. Other fungi cause diseases in plants and animals. So wheat rust causing Puccinia. Some are the source of antibiotics, example penicillium. So with the exception of yeast, which are unicellular, fungi are filamentous. Their bodies consist of a long thread-like structure, slender thread-like structures called hyphae. Now the network of hyphae is known as mycelium. So the cell walls of fungi are composed of chitin and polysaccharides, right? So most fungi are heterotrophic and absorb soluble organic matter from dead substrate and hence are called saprophytes. So those that depend on living plants and animals are called parasites. Absorb soluble organic matter from dead substrates are saprophytes. They can also live as symbionts in association with algae as lichens and with roots of higher plants as mycorrhiza. Now reproduction in fungi. Okay. So fusion of protoplasms between two motile or non-motile gametes called plasmogamy. Fusion of two nuclei called karyogamy, right? Now meiosis in zygote resulting in haploid spores. There is dikaryophase, that is dikaryon in ascomycetes and basomycetes. N plus N, that is 2 nuclei per cell. The morphology of the mycelium and mode of spore formation and fruiting bodies form the basis for the division of the kingdom into various classes. Now Phycomycetes, it is a algal fungal, right? Some common examples are mucor, rhizopus, the bread mold, and albugo, the parasitic fungi on mustard. First diagram of mucor. Now the ascomycetes, commonly known as sac fungi, and the ascomycetes are mostly multicellular, the penicillium, and rarely unicellular. Yeast, Saccharomyces. Now examples are of ascomycetes, aspergillus, then claviceps, then neurospora. Now neurospora used in biochemical and genetic work, and many members like morels and truffles are edible and are considered delicacies. And the second diagram of aspergillus, which is a ascomycetes, sac fungi, right? Now basidiomycetes, these are mushrooms, bracket fungi or puffballs. Ruts and smuts are basidiomycetes, and the sexual spores are generally not found. Sex organs are absent. Okay. Okay, so the karyogamy and meiosis take place in the basidium, producing 4 basidiospores, right? And these basidiospores are exogenously produced on the basidium, but they produce in the basidium. Some common members are agaricus, that is mushroom, and eustylogo, that is mud, and puccinia, that is rust fungus. Now deuteromycetes, these are imperfect fungi because only asexual or vegetative phases of these fungi are known. Confusion in the sexual forms. Now some members are saprophytes or parasites, while a large number of them are decomposers of litter and help in mineral cycling. So examples are Alternaria, Colicotrichum and Trichoderma. Now the kingdom Plantae and kingdom Animalia. The kingdom Plantae includes all eukaryotic chlorophyll containing organisms commonly called plants. Partially heterotrophic insectivorous plants or parasites, bladderwort, Venus flytrap. These are insectivorous plants, and Cuscuta, parasitic plants. Now kingdom Animalia. The kingdom is characterized by heterotrophic eukaryotic organisms that are multicellular and their cells lack cell walls. Holozoic mode of nutrition. Most of them are capable of locomotion. Now viruses, viroids, prions and lichens. Viruses an inert crystalline outside the living cell. The viruses are non-cellular organisms that are characterized by having an inert crystalline structure outside the living cells. This A figure shows the TMV, tobacco mosaic virus, that is single standard RNA coiled, then capsid. It is protein code that protects the nucleic acid, and capsid units are capsomeres. And bacteriophage, it is double standard, I think DNA, head, collar, sheath and then tail fibers. Now once they infect a cell, they take over the machinery of the host cell to replicate themselves, killing the host. Now MW Bijering gives the fluid as contagium vivum fluidum, infectious living fluid. MW Stanley, the viruses can be crystallized, and crystal consists largely of proteins, and they are inert outside their specific host cell, and viruses are obligate parasites. And Dmitry Ivanovsky, he told like mosaic disease caused by mosaic disease, and he also tell like smaller than the bacteria because they pass through a bacteria proof filters. He found some microbes that causing the mosaic disease of tobacco, right? Now, so in addition to proteins, viruses also contain genetic material that could be either RNA or DNA. So no virus contains both RNA and DNA. A virus is a nucleoprotein, and the genetic material is infectious, right? Okay, the protein code called capsid, made of small subunits called capsomeres, and protects the nucleic acid. These capsomeres are arranged in helical or polyhedral geometrical forms. Viruses causes mumps, smallpox, herpes and influenza. AIDS also caused. Now viroids. In 1971, Theodiner discovered a new infectious agent that was smaller than viruses and caused potato spindle tuber disease. It was found to be a free RNA. It lacked the protein code that is found in viruses, hence the name viroid. The RNA of the viroid was of low molecular weight. Now prions. In modern medicine, certain infectious neurological diseases were found to be transmitted by an agent consist of abnormally folded protein with the similar size as that of viruses. Now these agents were called prions. Now most notable diseases caused by prions are bovine spongiform encephalopathy, BSC, commonly called mad cow disease in cattle, and its analogous variant Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease in humans. So mad cow in cattle, CJD in humans. So this is a boviniform spongiform encephalopathy, BSC. Now the lichens. Now the lichens are symbiotic associations, that is mutually useful associations between algae and fungi. Now algal component is phycobiont, fungal component mycobiont. Okay, now algae prepare food for fungi, and fungi provide shelter, encourage protection and absorb mineral nutrients and water for its partner. And lichens are very good pollution indicators. They do not grow in polluted areas. And the main criteria of the 5 kingdom classification were cell structure, body organization, mode of nutrition, reproduction and phylogenetic relationship. Members of kingdom fungi show great diversity in structure and habitat, that is morphology and diversity in habitat.